Hey everybody, Dave Rollins here. I've been wanting to do this video for a little while now and I'm finally here. So today's topic is the 4 reasons why I use flash for action sports photography. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail in some future videos about how I use flash, but today's video is all about why I use flash for action sports images. So diving on in, I do want to do a quick little plug. My new photo book, Send It, is out for pre-order. So check the link in the bio and help support what I do. All kinds of action sports images. I have another video all about this book, so check that out. Pre-order it today. Pre-order it now. Link in the bio. So, 4 reasons why I use flash for action sports images. Number 1, lighting flexibility. So using flash, I'm not bound to the ambient light that nature is giving me. I have a lot more options when I use flashes. If I show up and there's a huge shadow over the skate spot, no problem. Throw some flash in there and I'm able to balance the shaded area with all the natural light that's happening around it and create a more dramatic look. So this allows me to shoot in a wide variety of settings. It could even be nighttime, and if I've got a couple flashes, I can light a spot and be able to create some images. Another reason is I like to work with slow speed film, and for a long time action sports photographers used Fujifilm Velvia and films like that that were slower speed films when they were trying to make those really dramatic, really colorful looking skate images that we think of from the covers of past. I mean, I grew up with Transworld Skate Magazine, Thrasher, Ride BMX, and Daily Bread for inline skating. All these really influenced what I wanted to end up making, and so I shoot a lot of transparency film that's 100 ISO, and I do miss Velvia a lot. It was an amazing film stock. Alright, reason number 2, dramatic looks. So we can create this nice stark contrast amongst our scene where we've got deep blue skies. Really, this allows us to focus the lighting in and draw the attention to our subject instead of having a really high key looking lighting to the image. We want that dramatic look. So this can allow you to pop your subject against the background, and in some situations allow you to take an image that you couldn't otherwise take. Like this skate image here, if I had used a fast enough shutter speed to completely stop the action, the sky would have been completely black. So I was able to balance the ambient lighting and still get enough light on my subject. Which brings me to my last point here, which is just being able to lower that ambient light and create more focus in on the subject. Third reason, creative options. So this gives you so many more creative options to your images. Which, touching base on the dramatic lighting, we can lower the ambient light and create focus in on our subject. Another creative option to things. We can blur the environment but still have a sharp subject, creating these kind of surreal looking images that really go with action sports. I mean, we got somebody doing a backside tail or a nollie back tail like in this image here, and just having that blur to it really adds this like motion to things, but having the flash makes it to where it's not entirely a blurry image. And also you can do long exposure sequences. So this is where you do a long exposure and you flash your flash multiple times to create a sequence within one image. Which brings me to our last point here, which is action stopping power. So the flash duration is so quick, the flash goes off so fast that you're able to stop the action with the lighting alone. So I can get away with using, an 1/8 of a second, a 1 second, a 15-second exposure, and as long as the flash went off, I can still have my subject be sharp in the image. So flash duration is the amount of time which the flash goes off. And it's usually shown as a T1 or a T5 measurement. I'm not going to go into detail about what those mean, but the T1 is the one that's really accurate and really is the good gauge of what the equivalent shutter speed is of your flash duration. So my flashes, my Godox flashes for instance, at quarter power are almost 1/2000th of a second, which is plenty to stop somebody doing a kickflip or a skate trick, BMX trick, you name it. So what this means is the flash allows us to freeze motion when the shutter speed is too slow for us to do so. Now there's a number of things that I haven't touched on here and I will touch on in future videos. I encourage people to leave some questions in the comments below. My next video will be about sync speed, which is the fastest shutter speed you can use and still completely illuminate your image using flash. Because most cameras these days are using a focal plane shutter which drops down like that, the curtain needs to be entirely open when the flash goes off. Otherwise, it's just this narrow band going down like this, and you'll end up with a portion of your image that isn't exposed by the flash. So flash sync speed is an important thing for us to know when we're using these off-camera flashes that don't necessarily communicate all the information with our cameras. For years, I used just a couple speed lights, and they're great. But I've progressed forward to using the Godox AD200, which I'll have a video about eventually, and the Einstein E640 flashes because I needed more power. But with that said, you can get away with just a cheap little speed light and having it on top of your camera. That's a great way to start. Then eventually add the radio that will communicate with your flash and allow you to have your camera here and your flash somewhere else. So when you fire your image, the flash pops elsewhere and you can get really interesting looks when the lighting is coming from a different direction and not coming completely on axis from where your camera is. Most of the time I'm using a radio trigger and then the radio is built into my flashes that allow me to light the scene from different angles, and that's really was kind of the game changer for myself. So I encourage you to start wherever you're at. If you're able to get a flash on top of your camera, boom, go take images with that and slowly progress to using an off-camera flash or maybe even 2 off-camera flashes. I tend to work with 3. I like to light my subject from 2 different spots and then have a 3rd one that lights like the landing or the takeoff or any detail in the scene where I feel like light isn't really touching. I really want to create these dramatic looks. Like in this BMX wall ride here, there's actually a speed light on the ground illuminating the rough ground at the bottom here. And that really, without that ground would have just been mushy black. And I don't think the image would have had as much of a dramatic look as it does. I mean, it's really, some of these skate spots are rough. The ground is rough, or BMX spots, the ground is rough. And so to be able to showcase that is an amazing thing. And I've always been told that you want to tell a story of where they took off, boom, the trick itself, and where they landed. So that'll allow you to do that as well. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm going to plug my book here. Send it. Check it out. The link is in the bio. Support what I do. This was a passion project, something I was really stoked to share with everybody. So check it out. Link in the bio for the pre-order. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Send it.